So we talked about like museums and like, you know, like not really like vibing with art exhibitions and stuff like that. How do you guys feel about guided tours?
I hate them.
Hate them. Hate it.
Unless
something we all agree about, finally.
Okay, unless the tour guide is an absolute goat and loves his job and is like super knowledgeable and super like upbeat. Like I have seen some tour guides who you're like, okay, damn, I want to be on this tour. But like most of them are just, hey, this happens to be a really historical area with a lot of stuff going on. We paid some guy who's kind of into it. Like he doesn't really care. He's not really enthusiastic about it.
And he's just following
let's just recite a script.
Yeah, he's just following a script. Yeah.
Like, you know, in like London and stuff, the most interesting people to ask about London and local London like traditions or places are just normally like cab drivers. Like they know London so well and they're so passionate about it.
Yeah, for sure.
I got in the cab one time and the guy just happened to be a certified tour guide in London. And he gave me like so many good recommendations of pubs and places to go eat for like really good stuff that I never knew, even when I was living there.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was way better than going on some guided tour that you pay out of the ass for, where some guy really uninspiredly talks to you about London, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel that it's such a mixed bag where it's just not worth it a lot of the time. And also, fuck having to walk around for 2 hours on some guided tour. I just want to do my own thing.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, I get why guided tours.
Sorry, I got angry just thinking about it.
No, I get because like I get why guided tours exist, right? Because you know, for a lot of people who aren't used to traveling and you know maybe a little bit worried about you know potentially going to some place that's a little like or you know potentially scared to have a not as good of an experience, right?
It's good for schools.
Yeah, and it's good for schools.
But then I also think that's what put me off tour guides initially. Because every time we went on a tour guide school trip, it was the most boring ass fucking thing of all time.
We did fucking school trips of coal mines.
Yeah.
Coal mines?
Yeah. Because Wales had a massive coal boom in like, I think like the 50s, 60s, I think. So there's tons of coal mines in Wales.
I remember I went to one, which was...
so we I'm
just processing that now.
Okay,
you're like, where do we take the kids today? Yo, you're gonna like this.
Because it's a part of Welsh history. And now these kids in Minecraft, they're yearning for the mines, right? So we went to these mines, right? And they would literally just go into the mine, like straight up. Just go into it. They'd be like, this is where they would mine the coal.
Would you say that was the worst guided tour that you ever went on? Because the worst one for me was we got taken to a sewage plantation when we were like I think like 8th grade because there was one right near our high school. And they were like, yeah, it's like 10 minutes.
There's a few things near my high school. I don't think they thought we should go have a tour.
It's like 15 minutes by bus. So let's go check out how your shit is processed. And we went there, and A, it was boring as fuck, and B, smelled like shit. 2 kids fainted because of how bad it smelled. and I'm just like, teacher, why did you, this is like a punishment. This is not, I'm not learning anything other than the fact that, yes, indeed, poop does smell very bad.
Poo smell bad.
Poo smell bad. I knew that.
Yeah.
That was by far the worst one.
Stinky.
Poop, stinky, pass out.
Why did they take you to a sewage plant?
I don't know, because I guess like the teacher was like, let's find out how you know this kind of these kinds of dirty jobs exist and people need to do this kind of thing, and it's good for the environment, it's good for the oceans and stuff like that. So let's find out. Have you ever wondered what happens after you flush your toilet? And all the kids are like, no, actually. I'm sure it goes to some fucking plantation, but do I care about how it's processed? Not really.
I'd rather do a sewage tour plant than do some kind of over-tourist thing, like do a tour of Venice or something.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I did that one time with my parents, and I just remember thinking like, oh, this is so boring. So boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like coming to this realization as an adult, because for the longest time I just thought I don't like history. I'm just not a history guy.
I love history.
Yeah, and I've come to the realization that no, history fucking slaps. History's like so interesting, but I just thought it was so boring as a kid because it was taught to me in the most like boring ass manner.
I'm exactly the same.
And I was just like, damn.
I hated history class, but as an adult, when you get to pick and choose what history you want to do a full dive into, it's fascinating as fuck.
I mean, I think as a kid, I was just always like, this is insane. Like 50 years ago, it was like a totally different place.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That like in different periods of time, it's essentially just a different human experience altogether.
I'm sure
that's what I like.
I'm sure a little bit of that I felt as well as a student, but it was just said again, it was just taught to me in such an asinine way where it's just like, I feel like I'm just like listening to someone recite the dictionary to me. It's just like, it's not fun.
Like even we had like some school trips where we went to, some famous places where like some famous battles happened in like the history of England. And I look back at these battles, I'm like, this is like some fucking Game of Thrones kind of shit, right? It's actually like insane, the shit that was going on. But I remember going to this school trip as a kid for like the Battle of Hastings, right?
No, we did. We went to the tapestry in France, I think.
Right.
You know where they have the Bayeux Tapestry, the really long thing about the battle. The battle of Hastings is 1066, right?
1066, Battle of Hastings.
Yeah, that one.
I mean, it was a very famous historic battle that changed the tide.
Talk about that in the UK.
Yeah, changed the tide of like English history and everything like that. We went to like some of the fields where the battles took place, and I remember as a kid, I just find it so hard to immerse myself in what someone's telling me when someone's like just like citing off facts in the most monotone way. Yeah. Because they were just like, and this is where the battle took place where all of these people died and everything like that. And I'm just like, it's a fucking field. Why are we here? It's a field.
I remember because obviously we have a ton of castles in Wales. And we did some school trips to some castles. And there was like, you could do like a peasant experience or something.
Peasant experience.
It was like
I do that every day of my life, man. Thank you very much.
I was like, wow.
Peasant simulator.
I was like, this is fascinating. Couldn't be me. No. I remember we went into like, we had to do a bunch of things that like the average peasant would do.
Right. Yeah.
And we would eat what they would eat. And of
like
course it was
bread
shit.
and soup.
Yeah, it was just soup.
That sounds interesting though.
Yeah, but as a kid, you're like, as a kid it was kind of cool. But as an adult, I'm like, nice. Fucking, what you scammed me. That's fucking hype. No, it was cool. It was. I tell a lie. I think at the time I actually really enjoyed that stuff more because like I thought that was really cool as a kid because they would actually make you get involved in the history. Like it wasn't like we would just tell you, and this is what they ate. It was like, hey, kids, wear these, because we would dress up as well, like the peasants.
See, that's cool.
Yeah, I love
like that's at least there's like an interactive element to that.
Yeah,
right?
and then we would like they never let us do anything cool with
even if it is questionable.
So I just have this image of like the adults being, and then the child dressed up as a peasant.
No, they wouldn't. I think they wouldn't say that, but that's now what I'm remembering it being, because it was it was like they would make. Yeah, we would have to like. I remember we would have to make the soup with the help of the people, and then we would eat it, and we'd go to like the halls and do it, and then I think we would. There was one thing we had to do where like, God, I don't know. I have such a vivid memory of this. I think in some parts they would. I think like Christmas or something. I can't remember when you would do this. We spent like an hour. You had an orange, and you would just put cloves into it. Like the really smelly things. What are they? Is that what they called? They're called cloves, right?
Cloves, yeah.
Cloves, yeah. Those really smelly,
I said cloves.
Spiky things.
I thought you said cloves.
I was like, I sewed a t-shirt on an orange.
Spiky, very aromatic things.
Yeah, cloves.
You would literally just stab an orange full of these. And they would be like, it would make the room smell nice. I don't know why, but that's what we did.
And that's how Connor grew his hate towards oranges.
And that's where it began, quite frankly. I remember, we did a few other things. We didn't really do anything like super cool. Like I remember they would like show us where they would train, but they wouldn't let us like touch anything, obviously. Because why would you let a 5-year-old touch a sword? Yeah. But that would have been badass.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty cool though.
Yeah, I think like, again, like I wouldn't mind guided tours and stuff like that if, again, there was that some level of interactivity, right? Because like, again, it's like as a kid or even as an adult, if you just fucking stand around and look at something while a person explains to you and being like, boring. Use your imagination to imagine what it was like, what it looked like 1,000 years ago, then it's like, okay, history buffs will be like, oh, okay, that's kind of rad. I'm standing on a piece of history. But to the average person, you'd just be like, it's a fucking field, innit?
Yeah.
Like what am I supposed to do with this information? It's like sick. All right.
Like it's always like even as an adult, that's why I don't really go to a lot of like touristy places because if you tell me something happens there, And even if I go to the place, it doesn't like help me immerse myself in it unless
Yeah.
I actually like find a way to get myself, unless you find a way to get me to care about what's being said, you know, unless someone's actually passionate about it. You know, I've been to fucking Stonehenge. It's fun. It's a bunch of fucking rocks,
so
okay?
shit.
I went to Stonehenge.
It's a bunch of fucking rocks, okay? You could tell me that this was the most
Oh my
historical
God.
site of like the earliest site of man. It's a bunch of fucking rocks, okay?
Stonehenge was the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in my life. I couldn't fucking believe
Well,
it.
we British like to disappoint.
Like it was like it looked better from the highway.
Yeah.
Like than it does up close. I'm like, wow, that's a first.
Yeah, I look at like the Great Pyramids of Giza. I'm like, that's a fucking site, man. That's a historical
like
site.
that is somewhere I want to
looks-
fucking
that
actually
looks
go
insane.
to and check out.
And then
right?
you look at what you're like, Mum, we have a historical site at home, and that's the historical site at home.
we have the
man.
pyramids at home. Here you go.
A lot of like, have you seen like videos of like at the pyramids? It's like there's so much trash.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
much. Like, and there's like, not scalpers. Like people heckling you, trying to sell you stuff. and
yeah.
so it's just like, okay, it's like that's when you're like, wow, I feel like a tourist.
Yeah.
I think that's the problem, right? When you're made to feel like you are just a cog in a moving part, it doesn't feel genuine. Like it feels like, okay, you're here for my money and I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Not that any place owes you to make you feel like you matter in any capacity, but like when you feel like you're there and you're just a cog and disposable, it feels weird. Like I think that's why Disney has done so well. Like to their credit, they try and make it feel like people who are into it, like you are like you're in Disney.
Yeah.
You are not.
We welcome you with open arms.
Everyone's so nice to you, right? It's all perfect, right? It's all choreographed perfectly. And I think that's why people like it so well, because when you go to Disney, like a lot of people feel like they're, you know, that it's a part of them. Like it's like a real connection they have to it, and the Disney World and Land just helps perpetuate that.
Yeah, for sure.
Whereas when you go to like fucking Venice, you're like, Jesus Christ, this is awful. I can't wait to leave.
It's like, oh, I can't believe I'm looking at the Colosseum
Yeah,
while
like,
7 people are trying to
great.
pickpocket me.
This is great. I love this. I can't wait to buy a coffee for 15 fucking euros, and then it tastes like shit.
It's like just immerse yourself in the history.
It's
There's
shit.
like 20 people taking selfies behind
Oh
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
Come on.
There's so
God, it's-
many
it's-
tourists.
it's
Chinese
so-
tourists just shouting at the top of their lungs, and it's just like, I can't immerse myself in this. It's